Hey, welcome back to the channel where my goal is to help you become a more informed home buyer. Today we're going to talk about five actually different topics that are crucial when getting a home loan. A lot of things that we don't often think about. Those things are interest rate, the type of loan that you're getting, the loan term that you have, the fees and charges associated with your loan, and also the flexibility. So stick around as we go through these five topics to help you be better prepared when buying a home. So buying a home is a very large financial decision, and we really don't want you to be an uninformed person. It's really important that you know these things because a lot of people don't think about them until it's time to get the home loan. But if you know these things ahead of time, it's going to help you be far more prepared for buying a home. The first thing we want to talk about is the interest rate. This is the question that loan officers and lenders get most of the time when someone's looking to buy a house. What's my rate? Well, that's a very common thing because the rate is going to be a large part of your mortgage payment every month. So the higher the rate, the more your mortgage payment is going to be. But there's also a couple things you want to think about too. Is your interest rate a adjustable rate mortgage, or is it a fixed rate mortgage? Fixed rate just means that for the entire length that you have that loan, the entire term, you're going to have the same interest rate. It's never going to change. You might have an adjustable rate mortgage. That means that after a set period of time, that might be 5 years or 10 years, your interest rate is going to start to change. It depends on the type of adjustable rate mortgage, but those are really important questions to ask. And during times when the interest rate is increasing and we don't know what it's going to do in the future, adjustable rate mortgages become more and more popular because there might be the potential for the rate to drop in the future. So that's the first thing, is interest rates. The second thing you want to pay attention to is the loan type. Now there's lots of different loan types out there fitting tons of different scenarios, and we could spend hours talking about the different things that are out there. But there are a few major ones that people typically will look at. First one is a conventional mortgage, what I've called in previous videos the white bread of the mortgage industry. So this is a 15, maybe 30-year mortgage, more so the 30-year, but that is the most basic of guidelines for buying a house. Then you have a FHA or a VA or USDA loan. These types of loans are backed by the government, where a conventional mortgage is backed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac or some other private investor. The government loans offer a little more flexibility because the government wants more home buyers. So those are good options for first-time home buyers because they typically have less restrictive credit guidelines as well as lower down payment options. So those are just a very small few. But if you are looking at an investment property, maybe you're self-employed, maybe you don't have traditional income, there's different loans that fit your particular scenario. And like I said, it's very difficult to go through all of them today in a single video. So that might be something to go through in the future. Third, you want to look at the loan term. How long are you going to have this loan? Most people are getting a 30-year mortgage, and if you have been listening to the news, you might be hearing some whispers about a 40-year mortgage. But there are also people who are getting 15-year mortgages. Now, why does that matter? Why does it matter how long you're paying for it? Well, obviously, the longer the term, the lower your payment's going to be. However, your financial goals might dictate that you want a 15-year mortgage. Maybe you have the income capacity to make larger payments and pay that loan off sooner. What that means is you're going to be paying less in interest over the life of the loan the faster you pay it off. That's why you see people saying, oh, you can pay off your mortgage 7 to 10 years earlier by making an extra mortgage payment or paying twice a month instead of just one lump sum. There's lots of different ways to manipulate how much interest you're paying, but that all starts with the loan term. So when you're looking at getting a mortgage, you need to assess what your financial goals are to figure out which loan term is going to be right for you, because a 30-year mortgage is not necessarily going to be good for everybody and achieving the same financial goals. The fourth thing you want to pay attention to is your fees and charges. Just because you have a really low interest rate does not mean that it's necessarily the best deal. You need to look carefully at your loan estimate, and I highly recommend shopping various lenders because what might be the same rate might not be equal in fees and charges. There's things called discount points, or you might just hear the term points. What that basically is prepaid interest, and you are basically buying down your interest rate, which is helpful because it gives you a lower payment, but you pay those fees up front. So you want to be aware, is your lender charging fees? Maybe they have different origination charges, underwriting fees. You have to go through and compare those things, because just because the interest rate is the same does not mean that your final out of pocket is going to be the same. So you have to look very, very close at those things, and maybe find a trusted friend or maybe someone who's in the business who can compare those things and tell you if you are getting a good deal. Because to be honest, most lenders, especially the big banks, the internet lenders, are really looking to just get your business and not necessarily concerned about your well-being. You want to make sure that you have somebody you can talk to, somebody that you can trust, that's going to be able to give you an honest opinion of whether or not you are actually getting a good deal with those fees and charges. And the last thing is the flexibility of the loan. Now, we might think, oh, I'm going to have this loan for 5 to 10 years because I'm going to move. But what might also happen is that you might refinance your house. And depending on the type of loan you have, that might be easier. Now, if you have, in Florida, we have a down payment assistance program. You might have seen my video on that. And if you refinance, you need to know that that down payment assistance needs to get paid back in the event of a refinance. But there are also other things out there that you can do with a mortgage after you've gotten it. Now, you might have mortgage insurance, which is helpful, but you don't want to necessarily pay an extra $50 to $100 or maybe even more every month on mortgage insurance. So you might want to know how long you have to pay for that mortgage insurance. Depending on how much you put down is going to dictate that kind of thing. Or maybe you get an inheritance and you might be able to pay a large sum towards your mortgage and then do something called a recast because you made a large payment. Or maybe you missed some payments. You need to know, can you do something about those missed payments? Now, we don't want that to happen, but you want to be able to know the flexibility of your payment plan. Is there a prepayment penalty? Let's say that you came into a large sum of money. Maybe you won the lottery and you want to pay off your house. Is there a penalty for paying that mortgage off early? Those are some things as far as flexibility that you want to pay attention to as you're getting a mortgage. So that's it. Those are the 5 things: your interest rate, your loan type, your loan term, your fees and charges, and the flexibility of the loan. I really hope these things you will be able to keep in mind, and you can come back and watch this video at any point so that you can be more informed when it's time for you to go buy a house. If you have any questions on any of those things, feel free to drop a comment. You can shoot me an email. You can give me a text, phone call. I'm always available to answer any of those questions. And if you're looking to buy a house in Florida and you need a trusted lender, I'm also here for you. Thank you. We'll see you in the next one.